All right, what's up, everyone? This is the Osmo.com NHL Hit the Ice show. We've got a 5-game playoff slate for today, and some pretty good contests, actually, at least one good contest that I like to play over on DK, the $5. So I'm excited they brought that back. It looks like it might get close to filling, but good to see the contest pick up, at least for the first day. So hopefully we can keep this going for the next couple weeks, at least while we have these 4 and 5 game slates. I'm going to notify the channel right now because I forgot to do that before I got on. All right. Anyways, looks like a bunch of you were pretty excited to talk about some playoff DFS. So I'm sure a lot of you are also watching the early slate for MLB. I played a lot of Bauer, and that did not work out, at least so far. I don't know. I guess only one game has really had any significant portion of the game done. Columbus getting swept probably. I don't think they're going to get swept. Maybe we'll talk about kind of what we think is going to happen in each series. You guys feel free to pop in and chat with your hot takes for the playoffs, because crazy things happen at this time of the year. Goalies get hot, and Columbus actually has, they've got one of the better goalies. Bobrovsky's been playing incredible as of late, so he's getting hot at the right time. Can he sustain that for 4 to 7 games against the Lightning? I don't think it's going to happen. It's I've heard some sharp people I know, or at least know of, talking about how Tampa's overpriced in this series. I don't know. I don't think it would be the end of the world if Tampa lost, but I would expect them to win in 6 games or something like that. They're a better team, and they're deeper, better goalie probably, even though Bobrovsky is really awesome. All right. It's been weird to not play NHL for the last couple of days, but we're right back at it. Got my Islanders jersey, so wrote them up. So I figured I should wear my Barzell jersey and go all in on the Isles tonight. But we'll get to them in just a second. We're going to try to keep this pretty short because I do have an MLB show for the Live Before Lock with EMAC. So if you want to come back and play some MLB as well, then and maybe we'll talk a little bit more NHL. I know EMAC's actually playing NHL tonight, so we probably will talk a little bit, at least at the top of the show or maybe towards the end. And I'll keep an eye out for any late breaking news on the NHL front. So yeah, busy day today, but we'll talk in general about each game, of course, DFS, and try to get out of here in about 40 minutes or so, because I know you guys got other stuff to do. We've got the Masters ownership projections just got updated again for PGA, so if you are a premium member, go check those out. MLB lineups are coming out right now, so a lot going on. So apologies if I sound a little bit distracted. I'll try to keep my focus just on you guys and just on breaking this 5-gamer down. I like this slate. Obviously, you've got a lot of good teams with all the at least the bottom half of the league being wiped out. So really, I think line matching becomes important for the teams that do that when they're playing at home. Things can change in a big way home to road once we start getting a couple games under the belt and the series shifts to the team with the worst record, their home spot at least. So let's go through this. We've got Columbus and Tampa, 2.7 implied total for the Blue Jackets, 3.8 for the Lightning. Bobrovsky in net against Vasilevsky. No changes, it looks like, for Tampa. They've got Hedman. He is fine. So they're pretty healthy going into the playoffs. They've been healthy all season, actually. Haven't really had a lot to worry about on the injury front for Tampa. Point line probably going to go up against Dubois, Panarin, and Atkinson for the most part. I don't know that it's going to be a super hard match, but for me, I'm okay targeting against the Dubois line. I think I'd give the edge to the point line in that matchup. I would probably have more exposure to Tampa 2. And honestly, Columbus wasn't coming up a lot in the crunches I ran this morning and early this afternoon. So I don't know what I want to do with that, because I don't want to just ignore one of the 10 teams and ignore a team that everyone's going to ignore. So as far as the Columbus, I mean, it's clear what you want on the Tampa side. I think Yanni Gourde with Point and Kucherov. Obviously, that's a big boost for Gourde. They've been okay when they've played with him, so no red flags there. And then I don't think the 5-on-5 matchup is going to be poor at all for them. The Stamkos line, we don't have a huge sample on them. Let me pull that up, actually. Move this over here. It looks like, yeah, I don't think these three have played together. But I'm going to check on that just so I'm not lying to you guys. Tampa 1. Oh, okay, never mind. They've got 50 minutes together, and it's not very good. Okay, so this was a line I wasn't really on. 36.7% expected goals for percentage. That's pretty bad. Obviously, short sample again, so you can't just take that to the bank. But you would like them to be better in their 50 minutes. That's not insignificant. You're starting to get to a spot where you can see, or at least predict out, what a line's going to be like. So Tampa 2, clear target. I think Tampa 3 is probably okay as nothing more than a filler. They're not a priority for me at all. I actually like another third line a little bit better than them that we'll get to in just a minute. But I'll probably end up lower than the field on the Stamkos line, Stamkos, Palat, and Tyler Johnson. I'm going to take a shot at one of these Columbus lines, and honestly, it'll probably just be Columbus 1. I'll get to a few shares of them. The point line's not perfect defensively, even though Tampa's defense score is actually pretty good. There's just not a lot of weaknesses there, and at least you know Columbus 1's going to play a ton of minutes, and they're going to play on the power play if they do get opportunities. I wish Duchesne was up there. I'd be even more likely to play Columbus 1 if he was. Don't really have much on the third line here for Columbus. Honestly, don't know much about Alexander Texier. I don't know how you pronounce that. Playoff hockey is also a different brand than regular hockey. Agreed. Yeah, it is different for sure. For DFS, it's not that different. Tampa Bay wins 9-0. Boom loves his Lightning. You're cheating on your Kings there. Defenseman here, like I said, Hedman should be good to go. 5,700. Not wild about that price, although it's cheaper than what we've seen him in recent weeks. So he's okay as a correlation play. I'm not getting to a ton of Hedman. Regardless, there is Burns on this slate. There are a bunch of top defensemen, or at least a handful of them, that I would like to use over him. So Burns, Bufflin, Letang, I think are a few guys that I'd rather have, but I don't think anything wrong with Hedman. On the other side, Werenski is the guy I'm getting to more than Jones, and that's probably a good amount to do with the top power play tag. But, and you can see why he's playing with Panarin and Atkinson on the PP, so maybe that's the key to the game is Columbus. You know, I don't think Tampa commits a ton of penalties, but if they do, you got to make them pay against a really good team like Columbus, or I'm sorry, like Tampa. So give me Werenski on the top power play. Jones is a kind of always say more of a one-off guy, but I'm really not even getting to him yet. And I probably won't get to too much of him. Penguins and the Islanders, 2.7 implied total here for the Penguins, 2.7 as well for the Islanders. So basically a pick 'em depending on where you look. Matt Murray and Robin Leonard expected to go for the Islanders. I wrote up the Barzal line. I think they're going to have actually a pretty good matchup here against the Malkin line. Malkin and Hornqvist actually haven't been terrible together in their time, even going back to last year. I still wouldn't expect them to be very good. It was a limited sample. Also wouldn't expect the third line to be very good defensively, and I think Barzal line will see mostly the second and third lines. I just hope they avoid a ton of time against Crosby. And I think they will do that. The Islanders this season, they like to kind of roll lines. And even their last couple home games, they were going Cizikas against opposing top lines for like 5 and 6 minutes per game. And that's huge. If you can roll them out there and they can limit the damage, you get Barzal going up against Malkin and the Bukestad lines. You much, much, much rather have that. At least that's what I would do. I'd much rather have that. So it's not the end all be all, obviously. Looking at the other lines in this game, so Barzal line, I think just way underpriced based on how good they've been. Like, you look at their numbers, and I'm going to pull them up. They are over 20 high danger chances for per 60, I believe, on home ice. In total, they are at 17.1 high danger chances for per 60, 36.8 scoring chances for per 60, expected goals 3.34. That's very good per 60, of course, and then over 70 shot attempts. So they've been super high event. You would expect them to get a good matchup. I would think they're going to be chalky. Yeah, Alex Osimo likes the Isles one. If you're a premium member, go check out Alex's stack rankings. I know a lot of our subscribers have had some real success just kind of seeing where Alex is at. And I always take a look at those. Obviously, we look at them every day on the show. But he does have stack rankings in addition to just player rankings. Other lines in this game, I think you can play the Crosby line. I don't like that Gensel's off the top power play and you're paying $6,700 for him. So it looks like I'm going to be kind of underweight on the Crosby line. And then I'm expecting the Malkin line to see the most ownership for the Penguins. Malkin and Hornqvist, I think, is a pretty good combo offensively. I like just following kind of where Hornqvist goes on the second or third line. So I was really hoping Hornqvist was going to be on the third line. But he is up with Malkin, so that's going to make him chalkier. McCann's a capable player. I don't mind paying $4,300 for him if you're paying up for it in the stack because Hornqvist is just way, way underpriced, in my opinion. The third line I also like for the Penguins. Like I said, I just said it 10 seconds ago, but I'd rather have Hornqvist here. Kessel there makes the line more expensive, but I still, even with Kessel, I have them grading out as one of the better cheap values on the slate. And I like to double stack, as you guys know. And you can also play them with Letang. So Kessel can get it going on the power play. You could go Malkin, Hornqvist, Kessel, and just stack up that top power play. Or, throw Crosby in there somehow. But, yeah, the Penguins, especially the second and third lines, I think are too cheap. So I will be taking advantage in my 150 max of both of those lines. And then the Islanders' top line is going to be one of my highest exposed lines, if not my highest exposed. Let me check on that. They're up there. I mean, there's a couple. There's a few lines up top that I really, really like. And they're definitely one of them. So Isles 1, Pit 2, and kind of Pit 3 are the most exposed spots I'm going to be here. On the Islanders' defense, it would be Polak under 5K. I think that's an okay price for him. B grade and Osmos grades. B value grade, I should say. And then Letang, I actually normally don't get to a lot of Letang, but if you sort by the last like 25 games for the Islanders, they've actually not been great defensively. And you say, okay, well maybe they let up a little bit, but they were fighting for a playoff spot. So I don't know, maybe they sort of regressed to the mean a little bit. I would still expect them to be pretty decent defensively in this series. The question is going to be if they can not commit penalties. And if they do, Letang and this top power play unit for the Penguins is going to have some really big games. So I am playing quite a bit of Letang, actually, which I'm usually not doing. But he has been shooting a lot since he returned. All right, Blues and the Winnipeg Jets. We got Jordan Binnington and Connor Hellebuyck in net. 2.7 implied total for the Blues, 2.8 for the Jets. First of all, before we talk about this on a DFS level, who do you guys think wins this series? Because for me, I think the Blues are the better team by a good margin. So, and the Blues are underdogs. Yeah, okay, Homer, please, you say the Blues. Okay, everyone's saying Blues. Maybe you guys like the advanced numbers. So this is one where I was watching Rob Pizzola's Periscope yesterday. He's a gambler. He's not really a DFS player anymore. But he was talking about how he was rooting for St. Louis to win this series because this is like he's rooting for it from an analytics standpoint, just being an analytics guy. Like if you like numbers, if you believe in expected goals and Corsi and all that stuff, then you should be rooting for the Blues here. Yeah, Jets smell a lot like the Caps from last year. So that's the thing too. Why all of a sudden would the Jets be worse than last year? I mean, they looked incredible in the playoffs last year. So I don't know. You could see this going either way. I think whoever wins this series, I think is going to be probably has a really good chance to come out of the West. Same thing could be said about the San Jose Vegas series. So the West is super wide open. I heard that from another place, and I actually agree with that. That was a podcast that Michael Clifford, Slim Cliffy, was on. So I'm sure a bunch of you guys know who that is. He tweeted out some podcasts, so give that a listen if you just want to hear about playoff hockey, talk some fantasy and such. But a guy I really respect for just NHL knowledge. Anyways, so I think the Blues are going to win this series. I am going to be rooting for the Blues. I don't have a team in the playoffs. I'm a Blackhawks fan and was glad they didn't make the playoffs. Yeah, Cliffy is the man. Yeah. Yeah, guys, go check out that. I mean, obviously, after you watch the show, go listen to that podcast. It's a pretty good preview. They talk about the playoffs. It's about an hour long. All right, what's going on, chat? Tarasenko, 1 goal in 4 games versus Winnipeg this season. That doesn't really matter to me. I think, actually, this was also something on Rob Pizzola's Periscope last night. Like, these two teams haven't played since early December. And if you guys remember, the Blues started off awful this entire season. They fired their coach, and then they just turned it around. And the numbers kind of alluded to them turning it around, and they did end up obviously turning it around and almost winning the division. So I think St. Louis is just a better team. They've been a better team for the last 40-plus games that both of these teams have played. So don't get wrapped up in the season series. I don't think that really has a lot to do with where these two teams are at right now. Just two teams trending in opposite directions. Winnipeg does have the home ice advantage. So that obviously matters a ton in the playoffs. It matters, I think, a lot anyways, but even more so in the playoffs. So I think for here, we're probably going to see the Scheifele line go up against O'Reilly, Shen, and Tarasenko. And, that might seem like a tough matchup, but for me, St. Louis 1 is so good that I honestly don't care. And you look at the matchups the numbers for the Scheifele line, they're not even that great defensively. I think this low price on Winnipeg 1 is going to get people on them. I mean, they were coming up a little bit for me, and I hate targeting the Blues. So I know other projection systems, they are going to be, I don't know if they're going to be the chalk, but if not, they're going to be a top 3 or 4 own line, I would think, just because you're not used to seeing those prices. Winnipeg or St. Louis 1, I think, is a better line. Oh yeah, Bots, you're so right. O'Reilly has been ridiculously good. So O'Reilly, Tarasenko, Shen is probably my highest exposed line. If not, they're going to be somewhere in the top 3, depending on how balanced I kind of want to run my exposures tonight. But I'm taking a pretty heavy stand on St. Louis 1 here. I think I'm going to be on them every game this series. And I want them early because I don't think they're going to be that popular here. So I could be off on that. I still like St. Louis 2 as well. And if you're going to a third line here, I like St. Louis 3. So I just think there's a lot of good matchups here for the Blues that I don't know how they don't steal at least one of these 2 road games, these first couple. Unless Binnington just all of a sudden is terrible. But I don't think that's going to happen. Hellebuck has actually been the one that's been pretty bad. So, Winnipeg 1, I mean, they're probably a little bit underpriced. I get it. Top power play, all that stuff. But the Blues have just been so good at 5-on-5, so good lately. And they're going to see a lot of the O'Reilly line that I'll just, not going to pass entirely, but going to go pretty underweight there and hopefully get away from where most people are going in this game. Man, Line A down to 4,600. I haven't even thought about Line A. Like, what a lost season for him. Didn't he score 5 goals or something earlier in the season? Or was that last year? Like, I swear he started off just on fire in October, and he just hasn't done anything since. O'Reilly only ever seems to get 4 or 5 DK points max as good as he is. Yeah, finally the salary is lining up with the production. I don't know. I think I disagree, Tyler. I mean, maybe as of late, but I think if St. Louis won, or if St. Louis is going to score 3 or 4 goals here, I think there's a very good chance the top line is going to be in on multiple of them. So this line, I would argue, is a top 3 line in the playoffs. And you could probably make an argument that they're number 1, depending on Colorado, what they do with their lines. But, yeah, they're so good. So good. Jets PK, too. So Jets got back Morrissey. That is a pretty big addition. I kind of left that out. And he's someone I think you could probably play tonight for 3,800 that people won't be on because he's not on the power play. Is this true? Trouba on the top power play? I'm just seeing that. I'm just seeing that right now. Mike, make your lineup for today, please. I'm not going to be making lineups right now. I don't know. We don't sell lineups, so we do give you the tools to. We do give you the tools to create better lineups and become a better player. Liney scored 5 against the Blues in November. Yeah, I hope people take that narrative and play that then. I mean, cool. That's even better. 47 or 41 games at home. They have the 27th ranked PK. Yeah, they just blah. But I would have said the same thing about the Caps last year going into the playoffs. And I think the Caps are going to lose in the first round again. So I don't know. I mean, weird stuff happens. And the thing about the Caps last year too is they had bad underlying stats going into the playoffs, and so the numbers nerds or whatever, they thought they were going to lose or whatever, and then all of a sudden their numbers just got way better. So I don't know. It wasn't like they were just outperforming. I mean, maybe a little bit they're outperforming their metrics in the playoffs, but they were still way improved. So I don't know what happened. Line A equals landmine. Yeah, it seems like that lately. Hat trick Line A. Yeah. Jets hold D finally healthy at home. I'll pass. Blues will score 2 and go on into a defensive shell. That could be. I mean, Morrissey being back is. I don't want to underestimate that. That is big for them. And Bufflin getting a few days rest is probably helpful. You don't have to play Kulikov and Sherratt all these minutes. So, people challenging each other to friendly head-to-heads. I like it. All right, so I kind of skipped over St. Louis 2. I just mentioned them in passing, but this is another line I think is very good, a very good top 6 line, and I think they have the advantage over both of these two, the middle 6 here for the Jets. And like I mentioned, if you need a super cheap filler, St. Louis 3. So you're probably going to hear me, no matter if St. Louis loses 7-1 in a couple days whenever they play again next in Winnipeg, I will probably be right back on St. Louis unless we see some crazy pricing elsewhere. Okay. Like I mentioned, Trouba, 3,800. I think he's definitely in play. And then same thing with Bufflin, just underpriced. I'm not sure if that power play is going to stick. Did anybody in chat see the Jets run power play units the last couple of days? Because if this is unconfirmed, then just give me Bufflin. I can't find anything with a quick Twitter search. Maybe Nolan knows. Oh, by the way, if you guys, okay, I'll finish this up. Pietrangelo, 6K. I do like him. Even with St. Louis 1, it gets really pricey, but you're going to get a different lineup. And yeah, JR, I definitely think you can tack on Pietrangelo. Bots was talking about the bad PK for the Jets. They have been taking a good amount of penalties as well. This article, pretty cool article. So if you guys are playing PGA, which, how do you not play PGA this week? It's the Masters. Come on. Read this article with Nolan did. He's studying pro players. He does this every, a month or so, and yeah, you should definitely check this out. Like, he interviews Brick 75, who's one of the best players in NHL, PGA. I mean, all the sports. He's just a stud at DFS, and Nolan writes this nice long article, and Brick gives some pretty good analysis there of kind of his process. So I would definitely suggest you read this. I will drop it in chat. Whether you're playing PGA or not, I think you should give this a read. Because it probably applies to a lot of different sports. All right, where are we at? Okay, so all the Blues for me. Stars, Predators, 2.3 implied total for Dallas, 2.8 for Nashville. Ben Bishop, Pekka Rinne in net. All right, this is the series I don't know what's going to happen. All right, I don't feel like I have a great feel in it. For tonight, though, for DFS, Nashville 1, I think, is one of my favorite plays. I think they're underpriced. You guys always hear me talk about the numbers, so I'll spare you from that. Could definitely be a goalie battle. I think Nashville 1 just has a pretty solid matchup. And I say that because I think the third line for the Preds is going to go up against Sagan and Radulov. And I respect that third line quite a bit. I know they made a bunch of noise last year in the playoffs. Maybe it was a couple years ago as well. But, I looked at their numbers, under 10 high danger chances against per 60. And if they're going to be using the shutdown role, that's going to free up Johansson, Forsberg, and Arvidsson. And he gets to go up against, hopefully they get some time against the Faxa line, because that line has really poor numbers, even going up against top lines. I mean, even factor that in, and they're still really, really bad defensively. From a shot attempts, scoring chances, all that stuff perspective. So hopefully Johansson sees time against second and third for Dallas. That's how I'm treating it right now. Same thing with Nashville 2. That's the other line. I like here. So it feels like I'm just on teams tonight outside of maybe one of these games. But I do side with the Nashville side here, especially the top line. But this second line also has pretty decent numbers. Turris finally at a price where I think you can consider playing him, 3,100. A value for all these guys. That would mean they're an A stack value as well in Awesemo's grades. I definitely agree with that. If I'm going to a Dallas line, I think it would still be Dallas 1 because I just think they're the best line. I just want to go where Sagan and Radulov are, and if Dickinson's 3,300, it just makes it so affordable. I like to full line stack. Maybe they can get it going against Bonino, Sissons, and Watson, and then I guess they still, based on how I have this line matching going, I would guess they're still going to avoid a lot of time, at the very least, against Nashville 1, which is exactly what you want. Radulov is a force, yeah. Playing with Sagan, I definitely agree. Josi and Subban, those are a couple guys that, of course, you can play. It's not the highest total game. I don't think there's going to be a ton of ownership on Josi especially, but Subban's got this power play 1 tag. He's with Arvidsson. Josi, it's not like you can't play him because he's not on the top unit. He's still on the unit with Forsberg, so it looks like they are trying to still balance it out. They haven't gotten anything going on their power play the entire season, which is one of the craziest things for me. Like, they were awesome on the PP last year, or at least above average. I know for a fact they were above average last year. This season, they just can't score on the power play. I don't know why that would be. It's just kind of a mystery. So, looking at, Dallas didn't take as many penalties as I thought. But anyways, it probably doesn't matter. Nashville 1 is amazing at even strength. So that's where I'd like to go. And then the second line as well as a filler. I feel like Granlund's got to turn around at some point, just kind of a side note. He's way too good of a player to not be scoring points on a good team like the Preds. I like Heiskanen as kind of a value at 3,700. Klingberg is the guy you go to if you're playing Dallas 1. But yeah, I think I will get to some Heiskanen and Ryan Ellis as well. Only a D grade for Ryan Ellis, a D value grade. I would have him more in the B or even A range at 4K. I think that's just too cheap. Even not getting power play time, I'll still take some shots there. I'd bet $1,000 San Jose goes to the West Finals at the very least. Whoa. San Jose might not get past Vegas. I think I agree with that. I mean, if you look at the series price, it's pretty much a pick 'em. Is that not right? So, whatever. It's super close. All right, let's get onto that game actually. So this is the series. This series is gonna be a really fun one. I'm getting excited just thinking about it. I don't love that it's a West Coast game, but it starts 9:30 my time. I can stay up till midnight or a little bit past midnight to watch some playoff hockey, especially if I got some DFS lineups cooking. So that'll be the extent of me complaining about the series. That is my only complaint. Well, I have one more complaint about the series, and that is the Sharks' goaltending. Ray Rock actually mentioned it. 0 goaltending. I 100% agree. I'll be up at least that late making lineups for the Masters. Yeah, homework leagues. Me too. I got into a couple of the mini maxes. I'm thinking about playing that 5. So I'm not very good at PGA. I don't think we have really good tools on the site that's made me at least a competitive player. I think I've turned a slight, maybe like a 2% ROI this season playing PGA, not knowing a thing, and just Wednesday nights just firing it up and letting Fantasy Crunch do its thing. But yeah, I might enter that 5. That would be more so gambling, but it's a really good payout structure. Wait, is that 5 even available anymore? Now that I think of it, I thought it was filling up. I might have missed my chance, but I'm sure they'll open another one. Let me check on this quick. Look at these tournament sizes, by the way, for the Masters. This stuff is incredible. Oh yeah, they do have another one. Okay. Nice. 5K up top, 3K to second, 2K to third, 1,500 to fourth, 1K to fifth. That is about as good as it gets. So, round of applause there. Why can't every tournament be even close to that, even half as good as that? Anyways, enough PGA talk. I don't know what I'm talking about for PGA. I just know how to play DFS. So if you want to learn more about PGA, well, first of all, become a member on our site. Get in Slack. Ben Raza, Jason Rouslin, Tim Frank in chat, giving the goods away in chat. Premium articles, ownership projections, which are huge. Rankings from Osmo himself. We have projections on the site. Alex Osmo added a couple new features, a couple new columns to the projections, which are super helpful. So do that. I will let those guys take over all the PGA analysis. All right, Golden Knights and San Jose Sharks. 2.9 implied total for the Knights. 3.2 for the Sharks. Marc-Andre Fleury going up against Martin Jones. The biggest edge of this series right here is the difference between these two gentlemen, Fleury and Martin Jones. That could ultimately be what decides the series. If Martin Jones is even average, I think the Sharks have a really good chance of winning this series with the home ice advantage. If he is normal Martin Jones, I don't know how the Sharks win this. He's one of the worst goalies in the league. And then their backup, also one of the worst goalies in the league this season. So they're going to need one of those guys to be somewhere closer to average, maybe even a little bit below average. And I think the Sharks would be okay. That reminds me, I have to fill out a Stanley Cup bracket. I should do that right after the show. So, as far as DFS goes here, I absolutely adore this Vegas line. For me, I'm just playing what I think are the two best lines in this game. And I'm kind of not worrying about ownership. I think we're going to get ownership on both of these top two lines for the Sharks. I think oddly enough, I think Vegas 1 is going to have more ownership than Vegas 2 because it's a really balanced top 6, obviously, but the prices are also really close. Actually, I think Vegas, let me check on this. I'm not going to do mental math in front of you guys and embarrass myself. Let me sort by. So Vegas 2 is 16.5. Vegas 1 is 15.7. Okay. Okay, cool. So, give me the more expensive line. I know the $800 is going to matter, of course. But they did price Brent Burns correctly, I think, tonight for the first time in a while. They did not price Shea Theodore correctly, I don't think. And Vegas 2 also gets to play on the power play with Theodore, who I think is a really, really, really good defenseman and deserves a way better price than $4,500. So, anyways, Vegas is so stacked. Alex Tuck on the third line. I always forget about that. Man, they're so damn good. So, Vegas 2 is where I'm going here on the Vegas side for the majority of my Vegas exposure with Theodore. And then I think Vegas 1 is a perfectly fine play. I don't think we're going to see a hard match from any San Jose line. It's going to be mostly top 6 against top 6. We'll get some middle 6 going up against the middle 6. These three lines, honestly, are probably all going to play against each other. So I wouldn't worry. I wouldn't get too bogged down with trying to predict line matching. San Jose does do it harder some games than other. The first game will tell. So on the San Jose side, I really like Meyer, Couture, and Pavelski making a little bit of a stand there. My ownership, if hopefully this makes sense when it comes out of my mouth. But my ownership on San Jose 1 versus San Jose 2 is going to be closer than my ownership on Vegas 2 compared to Vegas 1. So I think I said that right. What about SJ3? Yeah, I haven't really looked at them much. I know they have good numbers. Let me pull this up quick. SJ3. Yeah, so 400-minute sample. They've played together a ton. My God. They're fine at generating for a third line. I actually think I'd rather go to Vegas 3 though, and not actually. Like I would rather go to Vegas 3. Forsberg or Marchessault today? Man, that's close. Let me see what I projected higher. Give away a freebie for the YouTube channel. I think I have Forsberg higher. Yeah. Where are we at? Forsberg. Yeah, I have Forsberg higher. So not as close as I thought, actually. Nashville stinks for DFS. So I think I'd go with Vegas 3 over San Jose 3. So I'm more on the Vegas side, but I'm going to have exposure all over the place in this game. And just to reiterate, Vegas 2, San Jose 1, going to be my highest exposed. Definitely going to have some shares of this third line as well. Yeah, Preds PP. I mean, they've been cold all season. I don't even know if you can call it cold. They've just been bad. Hopefully this doesn't explode on me. All right. Yeah. Carlson back for the Sharks is huge. That makes this series even closer to a pick'em. It does help with the gap between Fleury and Jones, but it's still a huge, huge, huge edge. Here for Vegas in the goaltending department. Burns, I really like for 7,200. I mean, the water's wet. It's tougher to fit him in. They did a pretty decent job with pricing. You see he's a D value in Osmo's grades. He's usually a B or an A. So that extra few $100 does make a difference for Burns. For Osmo, for me, he's closer to a B value. So I have no issues at all. Playing Burns, I'm going to try to get him in wherever he fits. Carlson, great consolation, in my opinion, 6,400. He's got not Burns upside, but pretty close, and he's $800 less. So I think Carlson's great. Not going to avoid him at all here. Do I have what's his projection? Did he just play that one game at the end of the season? That could be why. Yeah, I don't have Carlson projected correctly. So I will go fix that. That's why you weren't getting Carlson if you were using my projections. Best cheap D on DK. Yeah, it's tough. Pettersson's okay. Marcus Pettersson. Who else I have? Savard. He's not that cheap. I think he's like 3,600. Oh, Vots. Great minds think alike. Nice. And then a guy that I get to quite a bit based on numbers I think are important, and he doesn't play a lot of minutes, is Scott Mayfield. So yeah, that's true. That's true, Steven. Hey, Steven, we got Patty Nemeth tomorrow. So you don't even need to watch the show tomorrow. Just know, play 100% Nemeth. What was I talking about in this game? Oh, yeah, Carlson's projection. I messed that up. I will fix that. Theodore is the other guy I want to talk about. Just shooting a ton, like averaging 5 to 6 shot attempts over the last 20 or so games. Like, his price went down from where it was. He was up to like 52, 5,300. Now all of a sudden he's 45. I don't know. I mean, he's got a really good shot, and he's using it, and he's playing. You talk about playing with really talented skaters all the time. Yeah, I mean, Theodore, I think, is one of my favorite values in the entire night for 4,500. Don't let the PP2 price tag fool you. It's not something to worry about. Miller PP1. I would get up to Schmidt if you could. Miller's fine if you're correlating and you need a cheap defenseman, but Schmidt is also a guy you should at least consider playing if you can't get up to Theodore. All right. Burns going to eat tonight? Possibly. Mariners are raking? Oh, are they playing right now? They're not playing right now, are they? All right, guys. So, this is going to be a fun slate. Maybe Emac and I see Emacs in chat. Maybe Emac and I will talk a little bit about where we ended up on our NHL teams in about an hour and 10 minutes. We will be firing up live before lock. Laffy and Adam are probably on as I'm speaking right now. I'm sure if they're not on, they're going to be on in the next couple minutes. So I will get off right now so you guys are able to watch that show, because you should be watching it. It's great analysis. NBA and MLB, I believe they're doing today. We'll have an NBA live before lock show. I think it's an 8 p.m. lock, 8 p.m. Eastern, that is, with Josh and Fast Eddie Fear. I will be back tomorrow doing the same thing, hopefully with some NHL playoff dollars in my pocket or in my DK account. And good luck, guys. Go tune into the Deeper Dive. Go tune into the PGA Live Before Lock show. That's at 9 Eastern. Watch that. Ben Raza, Jason Rouslin. And just consume our content, because we've got a lot of good stuff. And make sure you check out the tools as well. Fun time in sports. So good luck, guys. Let's crush it.